Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and how are you?
I am living, I don't know what I'm living. I'm living sad post-vacation, depressing life. Like at least my vacation ended and I came home, but then I still had like Bree and the baby in town, so I like focused on like hanging out with them for a couple days. So then like yesterday was the first day that I really like didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't.
Did you
But
take a nap?
I didn't.
Mm.
But it's because I ended up going. Dan and I finally finished watching The Crown.
Oh, how'd you like it? What'd you think?
I can't believe I'm gonna have to wait for September for season six.
I was going to ask if it was over or not,
No,
but I
it's
guess
not.
not.
No, but then we went to his mom's and gave all his siblings their presents and started showing some pictures. We also watched a movie that I don't think it's super new. I'm trying to remember when it came out. 2022. Okay, so it's not old either. But See How They Run.
Yeah. We watched it over the holidays at my mom's house.
Yeah, I just watched that yesterday. We watched that for dinner last night. It
I
was
recommend that for all of you
fantastic.
people watching.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was like
Classic
the
whodunit.
perfect amount of a classic whodunit and like a cheesy like comment on how movies work, and it was
Yeah.
everything. It was everything.
It was really
No,
good. We watched it right after we watched the Glass Onion. So we
but
were
it
in the mood.
yeah, what a good time. I mean,
It's a good one to sit in.
mysteries I'm kind of digging right now. I did an escape room in London that was sponsored by the BBC,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Sherlock Holmes themed, but it was like the TV show Sherlock. So like all of like Martin Freeman,
Sure,
Mark
BBC.
Gatiss,
That makes sense.
it was like all video clip and everything. Um, but it was like I thought we were doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there, I started taking control. I took over this. It was me, Dan, and these three French girls who English was not their first language. Uh, because when you only sign up as a small group, they like mix you with
Yep.
people. So like I went in, I took over we went in, we finished with 59 minutes and 42 seconds. We were 18
Left or
seconds
used.
used. We were
Okay, I
18
was like,
seconds.
that's darn.
No, we were 18 seconds away from them having to come get us and tell us we failed the escape room.
So that's fun you say that because when I was in Miami, I did two escape rooms.
Did you?
And it was just me and Rachel because it was like these do let you do just two people in a room.
Okay,
And so the first one we did was called Magical Things, and it was Harry Potter themed. Like the whole
perfect.
goal was to get the Triwizard Cup in the end. And
Perfect.
so very fun. We had 1 minute and 12 seconds left when we got out of it. But then our second room was Moriarty themed. And we are the only duo that has gotten out of that room before time ran out. And I think we had like 47 seconds or something.
Yeah.
But for you at home, you and all of our lovely listeners and watchers, I found this book on the TikTok. I may have sent it to you because Rachel sent it to me. And it's a Sherlock Holmes escape book. And it's got this little code breaker on it. And then everything else is like codes inside the book. And it's like an escape room, but in a book. And there's like a whole series of them. And we did a lot of it while we were like on vacation. I think we're close to the end, so we'll probably do like a FaceTime to finish it up, me and Rachel. But it's also very hard. Like escape rooms this is very hard.
I love it.
But
I
yeah,
love
now
it.
I was telling my mom that like we were talking about where we were going to go, and I was like, she kept saying Arizona because she wants to see waterfalls there, and I was like, let's go to Phoenix because I hear there's some really good escape rooms.
No, I told Dan, I was like, we have to start doing this all the time because that was too close. 18 seconds, too close.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever not gotten out of one.
I have.
I think I've only
So,
ever escaped.
to be fair, it was Wayne's birthday party in New York City, and it was Joshua, Wayne, Amy, Amanda, and I. And we were probably less than sober.
Sure.
And we fought for about 25 minutes about which constellations were which, and we could not find the correct dipper. And we failed the escape room because we didn't know the fucking difference between the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper.
Well, you probably had it right, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Nobody listened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I figured. It's not that hard of a difference, but that's fine if they didn't want to listen. I think I've got to ask Rachel. She'll know if I got out of them all or not. Ask Rachel or Caitlin. Those are the two people I've done escape rooms with. I know that we're having a bit of an intro, bit of a longer one, but I have one more thing that I need to talk about before we end this episode.
Hey.
Did you see the announcement for the Golden Bachelor?
Yes, I did.
So I've been off The Bachelor for a few seasons now, as you know, and I'm sure everyone else in the world knows. I'm in. I am back in, guys. I have been waiting for the Golden Bachelor since 2020 when they announced it.
Yeah.
And I was like looking forward to this like 80-year-old man, like all these like 70 to 80-year-old women. And then I saw they did like the back reveal of him like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, and they
like,
did his face today.
50. Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna be so pissed if this guy is 50. Like, we've put all this time in for the quote unquote Golden Bachelor. He's 71.
He is 71. But I mean, he is 71 and has had way too much self tanner and way too much Botox. Yeah. So like he doesn't look 71, but he is 71.
Right.
His name is Jerry.
I texted Amy. I think it's Gary.
Is it Gary? I know it's two R's. It's a G, but it's two R's. And so I
had only read it, and then I was in the Bachelorinos group, and someone said, "Oh, my dad's name was Jerry that way, spelled that way," and they were like, "But it was pronounced Jerry," and they put like with a J in quotes. I was like, "So this guy's name must be Gary spelled wrong," but I haven't listened to it yet. So, yeah, my friend Amy that I used to watch it with, she was texting me, and I texted her a picture of him today, and I was like, "Look at that tan! I'm back in." So, you guys,
it's okay. I got my mom. The Bachelorette has only been going on for about 3 weeks now, so I obviously haven't talked about it on the podcast yet because I was not caught up. But I had my mom was watching it with me just because she was in the room, and her and I are team Brayden, whereas the entire rest of the internet is not. And the thing about it is, listen, Brayden was a douchebag. Those earrings absolutely have to go. We do not stand. But Brayden is 24 years old and doesn't understand why he should have to propose at the end of the show to a girl that he barely knows. He was like, if I win the show, I would like to keep dating her. I really like her. We have a connection. I want to keep dating her. But am I going to propose after she's dated 20 of my friends at the same time as me and I've only been with her by myself for a minute? Probably not, no.
And I bet he gets picked and I bet he does propose in the end. I bet they're setting it up.
Probably. But she confronted him and was like, you're walking around the house telling people that you don't want to propose to me. And he was like, yeah. And she was like, she's all like angry and upset. And she's like, I feel like I'm just dating my ex again. It's all the red flags over there. And he was like, talk about red flags. What about the guys who have not had a one-on-one date with you yet and say that they want to propose to you? And I was like, I don't understand. I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. Because every person who comes on the show was like, I'm ready for an engagement. Anyone? You are?
Right.
Great.
You're just ready to settle in.
Because that feels not real to me. No wonder none of the relationships last. All you want is the ring. You don't want the relationship.
Right.
So,
I cannot
despite
get
the fact that
behind that.
despite the fact that he's young and cocky and has the worst fashion sense I've ever seen on the show, I do understand him.
But also, like, did you read the job description before you like applied?
Oh, sure.
Like, yeah. Also
But, like,
that, but also like he's not wrong, but like you know what you're getting into. You're starting up with the drama. You know you are stirring it up. So maybe I'll watch it one day again. Maybe this Golden Bachelor is all I need to get back into it. Who knows? Because let me tell you how stoked I am. I announced it at the office today and no one cared. So
Rude.
I know. I didn't care. I was very excited. So today's the day. Before we get into it, I might need a little bit of a spiritual guidance.
Okay. Well, weirdly, we're talking about things that are really hard and being intelligent and all of that fun stuff. But so my quote said, there is no greater evidence of superior intelligence than to be surprised at nothing. Never
Can you
let
read
them
that
see
one
it.
more time? It was a bit convoluted in my brain.
There's no greater evidence of superior intelligence than to be surprised at nothing. So
Yes,
basically,
I like it. I wanted to make sure I understood before I agreed.
Yeah, never let them see you shocked. Never let them see you confused. You know everything all of the time. And that quote was by John Billings. I don't know who that is, but
sure. He's a political in the past, a writer.
Probably.
I've definitely heard that name.
Probably. It's
Definitely
okay. One of the quotes of the day I could have used today was by King Bhumibol from Thailand, and he was listed as a statesman. I was like, only the third longest reigning monarch in the history of the world, but sure, a statesman, that covers it.
Statesman, yeah, why not? Yeah, well, here we are. We've made it. It's a new show. It's a new us. And it is wild. Today, we are starting our series, The Exorcist from 2016. The first episode of the first season. It is called Chapter 1, And Let My Cry Come Unto Thee. It aired September 23rd, 2016. It was rated 8 out of 10. The number one song, if this doesn't tell you, we have gotten to a new generation, Closer by the Chainsmokers, which I love. That was not like a
That was not a
just
yeah.
Not 2000 anymore.
Yeah.
We've stepped away. The number one movie was The Magnificent Seven. I don't think I've seen still,
I haven't
but
seen that. Yeah.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Number one book is a series I'm trying to start and I haven't yet. But it's Apprentice in Death by J.D. Robb, which, for those of you who don't know, is the crime writer name of Nora Roberts. Is that who it is? Nora Roberts?
Yes, Nora Roberts. My mom is a big Nora Roberts, J.D. Robb fan. She has every single J.D. Robb book. And actually, the book I just started reading is Nora Roberts.
Sorry, I touched my headphone weird and tried to talk to Siri.
Oh, no, yeah, I am. The book I'm reading right now is a Nora Roberts book.
I have, I've never read any of her books, but I think I would really like the J.D. Robb series.
Oh, no.
I own the first one somewhere. My aunt told me to get it, and I did. So
my mom loves it.
I'm on a reading challenge right now, so I'm reading right now The Handmaid by Frida McFadden that my mom recommended. It's really nice. It's really good. Not nice. It's not nice. It's a thriller, but it's really good.
Mine is obviously a romance, but it's about a bookshop owner and an innkeeper.
And you were two people at one time.
Yeah, and the innkeeper the inn. All of the rooms are named after romance couples from books. So like, there's a Titania and Oberon room, an Elizabeth and Darcy room. So like, basically, this book was written for me.
Yeah. I love it's nice. I don't want to read about it. It's not how I escape, but that's lovely. I hear other people really enjoy it. So she's doing okay without me. On this day, not anything super exciting, but enough relevant stuff that I'll tell you about it. To put you back in the same time, Shawn Mendes released the album Illuminate.
Ugh.
Um, I think that's the one with Stitches on it. I didn't look it up. If it's not, it's the second album. But yeah, he's my friend named his dog after Shawn Mendes. Its name is Shawn Mendes.
Yeah,
It's actually a very sweet dog though. Um,
I love Shawn
Marriott
Mendes.
became. I like him too. I like him too. I didn't name my dog after him, but I like him still. Marriott became the largest hotel chain in the world when they bought out Starwood. I didn't write down the name of the other hotel. Um, and this was the day where the hackers accessed data from 500 million YouTube accounts. If you remember when YouTube got hacked in 2016,
Oh, I do remember that.
it was a big scandal, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, everyone's data is leaked." And I'm like, "Who has their data on Yahoo anymore? Like my Yahoo data shows where I lived 10 years ago, and an email that doesn't even exist anymore. Like
Yeah,
it's like
same.
that's good, but like my Yahoo Messenger that I used in like high school might maybe I don't know. I didn't have enough incriminating stuff on Yahoo that I was worried about it. But yeah, so now we're gonna get into it. Our director is Rupert Wyatt, who is known for The Escapist, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Captive State, and The Mosquito Coast. I have not seen any of those, but I have heard of all of them,
Yeah.
so that's good.
I haven't heard of the mosquito one.
I I like don't know what it's about, but I had heard of it before.
Okay.
Um, I think it was based off of a book. If it wasn't, I may have made up that I heard about it before, but
Okay.
I didn't do a deep dive.
Yeah.
I do have one fun fact about him. He won, speaking of all the BBC stuff, he won the BBC Showreel 88 film competition with his very first film he created at 16.
Fantastic.
So he's doing well. The
Yeah.
writers, we of course credit William Peter Blatty, who wrote the novel, the movie's based off of, and now the show is based off of. And Jeremy Slater, who's known for Fantastic Four from 2015, Moon Knight, and The Lazarus Effect. I have not seen The Lazarus Effect, but I think I've seen the other two. I've seen so many
Yeah.
Fantastic Fours. I don't know which ones I've seen,
Here's
but I
the
think I've seen the
thing.
other two.
No, the Fantastic Four from 2015 is the one with Michael B. Jordan. That's absolutely atrocious.
Maybe I haven't seen that one yet because I feel like I would know if I saw Michael B. Jordan.
No, it's Michael
I
B.
love
Jordan,
him.
Kate Mara, and that kid who everybody thinks is cute, who was in the new Top Gun movie.
I did not keep up with the new Top Gun movie.
Okay,
I'm
well,
so sorry.
yeah, it's fine.
Nor
That's
no, she dressed as aviators for the holidays, the Halloween holidays. Yeah, I have not seen that one because I would have definitely
no,
remembered those
yeah,
characters.
it's really, really, really bad. And Moon Knight, everybody loves it. Like Dan loves it. I watched like 2 episodes and didn't understand what was happening the whole time.
So I really liked it. I could not tell you what happened. I need to
Yeah.
rewatch it. But while I was watching it, it felt like kind of intricately woven. It's not really connected to the rest of the Marvel universe right now.
No, I know.
I don't know if it will. I assume it will be at some point. It's just not yet.
Yeah.
But I love Oscar Isaacs.
Oh
So,
no, I love Oscar Isaacs. I would watch him read a
But
phone book, but like I didn't understand
Yeah.
the show.
I thought the writing was really well done, but I do again need to go back and watch it. But I also like just don't ever remember anything. So there's not a tie into something else that I can connect it to in my brain. It's
Right.
its own standalone. The editor is Andrew Groves, who's known for Captive State, as we've mentioned, Feud, and Stumptown. Did you watch
Okay.
Stumptown?
I did not.
It was the new oh my gosh, what is her name? Robin from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
You know.
yeah. Why can't I think of her name? Colby Smulders. Colby Smulders.
Yes, she's the lead in it. She plays like this like detective or like offbeat detective or something. It only got I think one season. I only watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, but I thought it was really fun. But I liked it in the same vein of the show that I liked with the Rachel Bilson TV show, where she was like an actress and she was doing a ride along to learn how to be a detective. They both were like ended too soon, but they felt kind of in the same vein for me, and I really liked both of them. If that means me not giving you any names of anything, just like reminds you, tells you how it goes. Oh gosh, I have to like. I'm sorry, my computer is starting. I have to like reach around everything I've attached. Okay, so then this is a series, so I'm obviously not naming all of the people today. So I'm just going to give you a couple of stars. What I imagine will be the top 2 throughout. Alfonso Herrera, who plays Father Tomas Ortega. He's known for Ozark, which I still haven't seen. Sensei, which I also still haven't seen, but I was told I would love. Dance of the 41, The Perfect Dictatorship. I haven't heard of the last 2.
I've heard of The Perfect Dictatorship, but again, haven't seen it.
I had not. But I think he like starred in it. And then I have a couple of facts for you about him. So he's from Mexico. Let me start there before I get started. He was discovered while playing John Proctor in his school play. That was how he got his first acting roles.
Love that.
Titanic is one of his favorite movies.
Confused by that, but also.
Right. I got to this fact, and I was like, I don't know why this is on IMDb, but now I have to tell everyone because it is the dumbest fact that is just so straightforward. His favorite food is Mexican food.
What?
I know. Shocking. Shocking. I literally like stopped and I was like, what? Why is this like he's Mexican and his favorite food is Mexican food? Like that doesn't feel out of the realm. Also, like Mexican food's a lot of people's
like
food.
what is but also what is Mexican food? Are you talking about like Tex-Mex? Are you talking about burritos? Or are you talking about like his grandma's like pollo?
I assume his grandma's cooking.
Oh right.
But it didn't elaborate. Yeah, didn't elaborate. Just Mexican food. And I was like, okay, well, that is so unnecessary. I bet there was a more fun fact about him in the world. But I didn't find it. So that's the last one I have for you. And then I have, last but not least, Ben Daniels, who plays Father Marcus Keene. He is known for Flesh and Bone, House of Cards, and Rogue One. And he also trained at Lambda. And so he's done a lot of stuff in the London area. So now we get into this masterpiece. And we start with a guy just like wandering down the street and he sees water running and like cleans his hair. And then the dogs start barking at him and then a light comes on and someone's screaming. It's like you don't even know where we're starting. There's no indication. And then we get the credits, which is just a title.
Yeah. I had most of my feelings for most of this episode were just confusion.
That's totally fair. There's a lot going on, and I had to like really focus to piece together how I was gonna start, like address this. Because like they're really setting up a lot and not explaining a lot, which is pretty similar to how the movie did. They did a lot of stuff without explaining.
That is also very true.
Yeah. Although in the end, this one made more sense than the movie did. Like it connected all the dots, I felt like, to move forward enough. Whereas like when we talked about the movie last week, yeah, we're like, I don't know how this ended up. And like this stuff, like while we don't have answers for everything, I feel like it could still like
because there's a show, because there's more episodes, there's a show, like there's time. So I trust that I will get the answers that I don't currently have, but boy, do I currently have no answers.
Questions. Yes, good. That's the way we like it. So, of course, when we start the show after the credits, we start in a small town where, as you would imagine, nothing bad happens. And, of course, we start with a sermon because this is a show about priests.
Is it a small town where nothing bad happens?
I don't know. That was my exposition.
No, it's straight up in Chicago.
It is in Chicago. But, yeah, that was my exposition on top of it. Because that's the scene they shoot when you're, like, watching it open.
I know, but I was like, I didn't get that vibe. I did not get that vibe at all.
Everything bad happens there. Like, I think every one of these people is going to have something wrong with them by the end.
Oh, no, for sure.
So, So I just tried to start with a happy thought.
Oh,
Thanks for shooting
okay.
down my happy thought.
I'm so sorry. It's just because I literally was just talking about the crime rate in Chicago this morning.
Yeah, it's I haven't talked about it in a while, but it's not great, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so we see Father Tomas and he's like going around and what is my question? My first question. Probably shouldn't be
Yeah.
my first of all of the things that have happened, but it is. Why are we casting so many attractive priests lately? 2015 to now, like we are getting young, attractive priests. You see Midnight Mass, you have this like the crazy guy who used to play. Well, he's not crazy. He's crazy in the show. Used to play the brother in the New Adventures of Old Christine. Like no one looks like the priest that I know. My priests
Um,
are these old white quiet men, like with like white hair that are just like kind and quiet and talk to
okay.
everyone.
Or to be fair, are you talking about Catholic priests?
Yes,
Okay. Because I was gonna say, because also like Southern Baptist Church is a very different vibe
those are
than
pastors though.
yes, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um, Also,
no,
yes, very different vibes.
I know. I mean, most of the priests I know are older white men, but like, no, I know young priests. But I think it also helps that like, so my aunt is a nun, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like 80 now, so like, it doesn't matter. But um, when she was in high school, she had a boyfriend, and he wanted to marry her, and she was like, when I graduate high school, I'm going to school to go to be a nun. And he was like,
Well,
please
she was
don't. I want
committed
to,
from the beginning.
yeah. And he was like, please don't. And she was like, bye. And she broke up with him to go be a nun. Um, so like, I know that story. I've always known that story. And I know like all of the people that she's been like working with for her whole life. So like, I know all these ladies who, when they are old now, but when they started weren't. And there's like a huge problem in the Catholic Church right now with people joining the church. And there's tons of problems in the Catholic Church, but one of the problems that like my area is facing a lot is that young people aren't becoming priests and nuns anymore. And so like we are having
Mm.
issues like keeping churches staffed. And I almost feel like there's this subtle like subliminal messaging to be like, please, for the love of God, someone become a priest by
For the
casting
literal love
young.
of God.
Yeah. And so they're casting young people to be like, you don't have to be old to be a priest.
Oh, so it's Catholic
Please.
propaganda.
Yes,
I
I think so.
see.
Although I'm sure the Catholic Church
Interesting.
probably didn't love this show. That's my theory behind it.
Who knows? Maybe they did. I'm really looking forward to the exposition we're going to have this season because I know Catholic stuff, but you know way more. So when I come up with my crazy questions, you're going to be able to answer them.
Great.
So super stoked. Yeah, so we have our attractive priest, and he's sending everyone out. And we see this like creepy guy hanging out outside, and he's like watching him as everyone's kind of dispersing. And
Yeah,
he
that
gets
was weird.
distracted and looks back, and he's gone. And I was like, that's good. That's good. It bodes well
Comforting.
for our town where nothing bad happens.
Chicago.
Right.
That
Our town of
that
Chicago, the
peaceful,
Saints.
quiet town of Chicago.
That's the one. That's the one. And then we kind of get a scan through the different families involved starting out. So we go to the rich woman's house, who we learn her name is Angela, and we see that she has like we heard her talking about her husband having issues with the priest, and then we see that she has a child who won't answer the door. She's like knocking on the door and she's not getting any response. And then there's another child in the picture, but we don't see her yet.
No,
And
that's not
then
true. We saw her. We saw her at the church.
right, but we didn't see her in the scene where we're at the house.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Oh, okay. In the
yeah,
church, the house. Because I was like, no, we saw Casey because
yeah,
Father Tomas was talking to her at the church.
yeah, yeah. And then we go to like the priest's house. Father Tomas is like at his sister's house with her kid, and she's like, "You don't have to be a priest anymore." It's like, "I think I'm supposed to. I think this is what I'm called to do." And she's like, "Look, it's totally cool. Grandma's dead. You don't have to be a priest if you don't want to." Because he's turns out he's had these letters from a married woman, which I'm sure we'll learn more about. But he says they're innocent. We'll see. I mean, he
Yeah.
seems actually like a pretty good guy comparatively.
Yeah. Yeah,
to
like he
the other
does
people in this
genuinely
world.
like seem like he could actually
But
like be legitimately wanting to be a priest.
right. But that
So,
doesn't mean she's got pure thoughts
oh
also.
yeah, I don't
Whoever
know
this
why
married
I would be
lady
writing
is.
letters to a married man, I like to a priest if
Right.
I didn't. Yeah, that feels wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Like secret letters. Because his sister's right. Why are you writing things so they're secret? Although, as a lawyer, why are you writing things so that they're in stone for everyone to see? So I tell
Correct.
you,
No,
don't
for
write it down if it's a
sure.
secret, but it's fine. Two different people. I get it both sides. So then we meet two more priests. We have Father Marcus, who's just like hanging out. Looks like he's just like drinking, having a little time to himself. Father Bennett, who is angry that he has corralled and kept someone. And Father Bennett seems a little bit more stiff than the other two priests.
Yeah.
He's got a little more. He's in from, I think he's working in Rome, is what I picked up.
Yes.
So we also learned that something happened in Haiti, but they don't tell us what yet. I don't know if they will, but we learned that something happened in Haiti. And then we see that there's a possessed boy, and that's what Father Bennett was talking about, that he is keeping in. He was like, we got to take him to the hospital. We have to do this.
Yeah.
Father Marcus pulls a gun on Father Bennett. He's like, absolutely not. He's like, he's like, are you going to shoot me? He's like, yes, 100%.
He said
And he's
without
like,
hesitation.
yeah.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. And so he's doing this like exorcism stuff with the little boy, and Father Tomas is asleep and mentally transports into this place where the exorcism's happening. So we got some mind games going on a little bit of mind games. Then he wakes back up. And so Angela's having a difficult time with her family. We know that Cameron has mental decline. His name is not
And
Cameron in the show.
it's Henry.
Henry, great. He plays Cameron on Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and that is what I call
Yes,
him
he
in
does.
every show he's in, including when I was watching him on Succession 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no.
So he will always be
Henry.
Cameron to me. But Henry too, he can be Henry too, I guess. Kat won't talk to her. And then I was like, but the other daughter seems okay. Oh, hold your horse.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so then we meet the sisters, and it turns out Kat is actually, I didn't write her name down because I'll probably talk about her next week, but she is Georgia from Ginny and Georgia. And
Never seen
I
it.
don't know if you've watched that. It's a newer show. And
No, I know.
I've
My middle schoolers are obsessed with it, so in my mind, I can't watch it.
oh, my boss is obsessed with it. That makes you feel better. And I also really like it. So does Nora. So like our team really likes it. But I like quick anecdote about her. I will talk more about her when I actually go over her. But I've seen her in another show where she was playing like a younger character. And so if you think this is 2016, Jenny and Georgia came out in 2020, 2021. She went from playing a child actor to being a full on parent of a teenager. Like, and she's meant to be like a young parent. Like she had her at like 15, but still that like aged her 15 years in like 4 years. Like
That's
it is
crazy.
what it's kind of been an easy transition. Like it hasn't been, but not that she like looks old in the new one.
Right.
She doesn't like she doesn't
She
look out of
doesn't.
place in any of the things I've seen her in. And she's playing
Interesting.
wildly different ages for like only 4 or 5 years apart.
Interesting.
Yeah. So she's depressed about something we don't know yet. We will find out.
Yes.
And Casey is chatting her up, and she's like, "You're sad. Stop being sad. Let's go have food." And she's like telling her about all these boys they could hang out with. And Kat's just like not having it. And she's like, "You can eat without me." So then we go back to the church. A lot's going on at this church. Like, there's people trying to fix the side of the church. There's like a woman chasing him down for a confession. He has to like go underground or behind the, I don't know what it's called, the baptismal chamber. We call it something that I'm pretty sure is different in Baptist churches than Catholic churches, but essentially
Yeah.
behind the like altar like area.
Oh God,
So
there's
he's
a
like,
word for it. No, there is a word for it. Oh, sacristy.
oh, that's not what we call it. I don't remember what it's called, but yes, I have heard that word. I did not know it was attached to this concept.
Yeah.
And so he's like doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden Angela creeps up on him, and I was like, well, she is like she's acting like everybody else in her life is causing her problems, and I think she's a creep. She's going to cause me a lot of
You
problems.
are going to talk about that actress soon too, right?
I'm sure I'll talk about her next week. I just picked the first two.
Which makes sense. It's just that she's
Yeah.
probably like the biggest name in the show.
I think she so far, I mean, we haven't seen anyone else that's bigger than her yet.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be this week, but they put Ben Daniels as second because Ben Daniels is a pretty big actor too.
Well, Ben Daniels is a pretty big actor, and I think the way this episode ends sets up the fact that Father Marcus is going to be a much bigger part of the show than he was in this episode, which makes sense. But yeah, because I knew Ben Daniels and Alfonso Herrera were the top two billed characters, when I saw her name in the credits, I go, that's not a small name.
No, it's not.
No.
And that's why I thought she was, because I do my notes after. I thought it was going to be her and Alfonso Herrera. And then it wasn't. So I was like, well, but I have to do an order or I'll forget who I've done.
Right.
So I'm sure she'll be next week. But yeah, so she sneaks up on him. And this is where we learn that they're sitting down talking. We learn that Kat was in a car accident where her friend died. And that's why she's home from school and so upset. Mm-hmm. No other details, but we learn why she's upset. And then Angela starts saying something's in her house trying to take her daughter. And Father Tomas is just like, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's right. Like, it's just like sometimes like bad energy, sometimes like different energy, like devices can make sounds.
Yeah, and he's like, demons aren't real. They're like metaphors for the bad shit in our lives. Like, don't.
Yeah. But she's like not hearing it. And to her credit, as they're having this conversation, a raven flies directly into the window, breaks the glass, and blood goes everywhere. But it's still alive because it's still kicking at first.
Oh, well, yeah, but then it dies.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's lost a lot of blood and it's stuck in glass. But it lasted a lot longer than I thought it was going to for making it that far into a window.
It scared the shit out of me.
Me too, yes. And imagine, I was watching this like 11:30 at night last night. Maybe not the right time to watch it. No. It's when I was watching it. So
I will absolutely never watch the show when it is dark out.
I got like, what's it called when they when you go to therapy and they like shock, like they like if you're scared of the dark, they throw you into the dark. If you're scared of water, they throw you into water.
Shock therapy or like immersion therapy or shock therapy or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm having immersion therapy for The Exorcist. So we go back to the priest, and he's still seeing images of the exorcism. But in the middle of it, we see a quick face pop in. And then it goes away. Just the ether. And so we go back to Angela's. And Kat and the priest are talking because Angela has asked Father Tomas to go talk to Kat. And she's like, nothing's wrong with me. I'm sad, but I'll be fine. She's like, my mom is making this big deal because I followed my friend's Wiccan store on Etsy, and now she thinks that I'm like drinking ram's blood or like doing all these rituals. And he's just like, okay.
Yeah, that was that was pretty great.
Yeah. And so she's like, my mom's just like blaming me because she can't like own up to what she's saying. And she's like, and he's like, well, who do you, she's like, she's not even blaming God. He's like, do you blame God? And she's like, no. And he's like, who do you blame? She's like, I blame me because I'm an adult and that's what you do. And I was like, okay, so Kat has a brain. She is the most depressed, but she also might be the smartest one in the show. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Not the nicest necessarily.
Oh no.
Because then we go to dinner and they're having a conversation and Henry pops in with like a quip about the meat whenever she's saying she burned it a bit, and they're trying, and then so of course Father Tomas is like, well, now might be the time to have a conversation with him.
He says something about it's like he likes when it's a little bit crispy because it's like a good like bristle for your gums or something, like really fucking weird.
And everyone just kind of like stares at him for a second. But then Father Tomas asks him about his boat, and he goes silent and like looks terrified. And he's like, what? And he's like, your boat, like how's your boat? Did you get it fixed up? And Kat just loses it. And she starts being like super angry and like getting in his face and doing all this stuff. And she says that he doesn't remember what's going on around him. She doesn't recognize, like, he doesn't recognize what's happening. And he's like, so he gets up and leaves. And Father Tomas, props, he's like, so I read this study where people can actually remember and like register what's going on
No, he
around
didn't
them
even
even when
say
they're
that
in
he
this
read the
state.
study. He said he knew a priest who gave the last
Oh,
rites to a woman,
right.
and then she didn't die.
Right. And so he's like going through this whole thing. And then he like very casually just looks at her and he's like, keep your damn hands out of his face. And I was like, you tell her,
Yeah.
priest. Like,
No, he was
absolutely.
like, he was like, people who have physical ailments don't forget things. They still have a brain, even if they can't like figure out how to tell you
Right.
that. So don't ever fucking do that again. And I was like,
Yeah.
yes,
Like, good on
Father.
you. So it was attractive priest, I'm telling you. And so then he's like on his way out, and Henry stops him, and he's like, I just want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for like talking with Kat. I know that Angela's really stressed. And I was like, oh, so he like kind of still knows what's going on, even if he like
Yeah.
doesn't. I was like, he really does kind of get it. And then he goes into like this shift, and he's like, Saint Aquinas or Saint Aquinas.
He
like,
was like, it's off.
what?
He was like, it's off I-41. And
Yeah,
Thomas was like, what is, it's like Santa Aquinas. He's
yeah,
like, why do I care what that church is? That's where Father Marcus is. He's like, the
right.
fuck?
Yeah. And then he's like reverts back. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, thanks for coming. Glad you. I'm like,
As if
okay,
none
so
of that happened.
you're now like a what is it called?
Conduit?
Yeah, you're like a conduit now for something, and we don't know if it's good or bad. So Father Tomas goes home and he starts Googling this exorcism that he had heard about, and Googling Saint Aquinas and doing all this stuff. And he goes to sleep and is back in the exorcism.
Wait,
And
when he Googles everything, there was one important thing that he Googled.
oh, are you going to talk about the past?
Yeah.
I have that in my fun notes at the end.
Oh, okay. It was when he was Googling things, the web page popped up, and I go, hey, I recognize those stairs.
Look at you. Yeah, they when he goes to search it, it comes up with the deaths of Father Karras and Father Marin.
Yeah.
Which is how we ended the last movie.
Which is how
didn't hang with us.
So I knew that because we knew that this was supposed to like follow that movie.
So I think after watching this, I know we talked about this last week. I think it's this new movie that is the direct sequel, ignoring the other sequels. I think this is more of like a like reimagining of it. Like obviously we were only in the first episode, but I don't think it's disregarding everything that's happened between now and then. I think it's just kind of treating them as different worlds.
Okay.
And yeah, but I don't know for sure yet. But just based on this first episode, I think it's the new movie that's disregarding everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in the exorcism now, and this poor child, Father Marcus is trying so hard. But
I'm not gonna lie, the exorcism scenes I didn't watch very closely.
That's totally fair.
Because they were very, very graphic.
Yeah, I looked away a lot too. So
yeah.
I didn't want to like miss anything, but I also didn't want to see everything. So
yeah.
So he breaks his restraints, and when he does, the demon inside of him starts breaking the boy's bones and then snaps his neck. And that was
so bad. Also, the demon gives in that scene. The demon gives himself a name, like he names himself out loud.
Yeah,
which I don't think that's the same name from the movie.
It's not. I don't remember what name he used. Do you remember?
He called himself Baptist.
Oh yeah, no, because he was trying to say I think that he was part of the John the Baptist stuff. I think it was meant to be a play on that. I don't know if that's his actual name, but that is what he called himself.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true, if that's something that I just decided in my head either, though. So, but now that you say that, I do remember that.
Yeah.
No, it is not the same name from the movie, though. So then it's a new day, and Tomas is driving out to Santa Aquinas, and he's like getting out of the car, and this guy calls him over, who appears blind because he has those big glasses on. However, is not. So he goes over there and he's like waving in his face, and he's like, hey, yeah, I'm here. Hey. And he's like, oh. And he starts talking to him about like funding different projects and how he knows every priest in the area and this and that. And he's just kind of like going on forever. And
Yeah.
then he sees Father Marcus walk by and he follows him. He's like, gotta go. But before we leave the old man, he takes his glasses off. One of his eyes like turns out a bit, and there's something
Which we already saw happen to Gabriel's eye in the first exorcism scene.
Right. So, alas. So then Tomas follows Marcus into the building and he starts asking about demonic possession. And Marcus is just like, no, doesn't exist. And he's like, I think it does. He's like, I've like seen these different things. He's like, absolutely not. This doesn't exist. You're wrong. Go away. Sorry you drove out here. Don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then he starts telling him about his dream. And he's giving him specifics about what happened with Gabriel.
Things that no one could have known.
Unless you were in the room.
Yeah.
And it turns out this happened 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. So it's been a year and a half since this event happened. And he starts telling him, and he's like, if you were in the room, why didn't you do anything? And he's trying to like, play it off in his head. And then Marcus just tells him to go. And he does.
Yeah.
So
he's like, go home and pretend you never had anything to do with this, because Marcus is basically like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to your life, is being a part of this.
Right. And so he's going home, and then he sees the face again that he saw earlier that kind of like shows up in like a crinkle. What's the word? It's not like just a straight face. There's like some shifting, like it's in water or something.
Yeah.
And so he goes to Angela's house to talk to her about this. And he just straight out is like, do you believe in God? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of scary coming from a priest, but okay. Because it sounds like he doesn't now at this point. Like, he's not sure.
Yeah. No, but she doesn't say yeah. She says that like she wants to. And it's a nice idea. But with everything that's gone on in her life, she doesn't really know how she's supposed to anymore.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he hasn't believed it until maybe now. Because he said that like he's heard all these stories of priests hearing God's voice in their heads, and he's never heard it until today.
Which I think it was, I don't know if it was as much of a not believing in God or a struggling, because like he only joined the priesthood because his grandma wanted him to, right. And he felt like this was supposed to happen this way and it didn't, but now it has. And
yeah, like maybe he shouldn't have been a priest in the first place because he's not like hearing the voices like they have.
Yeah.
Until now. Yeah. Yeah, so then we hear a thump and a scream upstairs. This is the end. And so he's going down the hallway to figure out what's going on. He's going towards the girls' room, and the attic door drops open and a ladder falls out. So what do you do when a creepy door opens with a ladder falling out? You go up. Yeah, that's what you do, apparently.
I mean, to be fair, they tried to turn the light on first, and it blew out. And then he got a flashlight before he like put his whole body in there.
But to be fair, if it fell open, my like response would be to try to like put it back up and go check on the girls in their rooms. But alas, we're gonna go search for it. That's fine, I guess. You're braver than me. That's fine.
No.
So
yeah,
he goes up the ladder and he's like looking around and he's not seeing anything until he does. And he sees an outline of one of the girls, who you would imagine is Kat at this point, staring out the window very creepily, spreading her like limbs out. And then he trips, and when he looks back up, she's gone. And he sees a rat run by, and the rat starts like breaking its bones and like dying on its own with nothing touching it. And then all of a sudden a hand comes out and grabs it.
Fucking creepiest hand I've ever seen.
Sure is. And we finally see the face, and it is not Kat, but it is Casey. The one that seemed okay. So she grabs it, and then she's like, weird stuff starts happening. She's like walking in weird ways. Her body's bending in weird ways. She's like coming towards him. He's trying to fight her off, and she's like jumped on him and attacking him. And as soon as like Angela finally gets upstairs and gets the light on, and as soon as it happens, Casey's just across the room like a normal human being. And she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, hey, look, we had a rat, and Father Tomas killed it with a book. And super chill. And it was
And
that was almost creepier than her being creepy.
well, because then she says the most fucking ominous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Because she says to him, "Well, you know what they say when there's one, there must be a lot of them." Like as if telling, like her mom thinks she's just talking about this goddamn rat, but he telling Father Tomas that, haha, there's fucking demons everywhere.
Yeah, well, there appears to be. So we end on Father Tomas walking home and a brief shot of Father Marcus before we've ended it. And that is officially the first episode of
and Father Marcus, when we see the little mini shots we see of him, he's like packing his exorcism bag, and it's all of the things that Father Marin in the movie said he needed to be able to do the exorcism.
Yes.
So that's another tie-in to the movie there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tie-in, kind of like Bates is a tie-in to Psycho.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that's the end of that. And we are in our journey now of The Exorcist. And I know I said last week that I don't usually like an exorcism show. It doesn't really like do anything for me. I'm in. I'm ready. Like,
well, the thing is
really good.
The drama in this one and the mystery of it is much better than exorcisms tend to like be, really. I'm not gonna lie.
Suspense with exorcisms, I feel
like I'm not gonna lie. If I could never fucking watch this again, I would, because that attic scene might be one of the craziest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was creepy.
It was like,
you imagine watching that at midnight, because this is the end of the like episode, so it's like midnight at this point.
It was like proper creepy.
Yeah,
I don't get scared usually, like from things like that. I just go, oh, like this is where it's supposed to be scary. I have like things I don't like, and like the squeamish stuff, like the other exorcism scenes, those bothered me, but I wasn't scared. I just couldn't watch them. Right. This was
that's how I am too,
fucking scary.
Yep. I feel the same way, because those kind of scenes I also can't really watch very well, because they're like gory and they're gross. They're not for me. But yeah, this was like when her body started moving like that in the light, I was like, this is something we've committed to now. So we're going to find out what happens. So you guys can be on this ride with us. My aunt did say it's really good. I told her we were doing it. My aunt, who's our number one fan, and she said she actually really likes it. So she was done really well. So I have one piece of trivia, since we already discussed the internet scene. This is outside of this, during the filming, not necessarily in the show, but while they were shooting the pilot, the two sisters, so Kat and Casey, like their actual human lives, not their characters, when they would ride on the elevator of the hotel they were staying at, it would frequently stop on the 13th floor, even though they never pushed the 13th floor. So you can't have 13th floor in a hotel. Correct. You should know anything. Yeah. So that's all I have for trivia. So who do you want to punch in the face?
Can we? I feel like punching the demons is a given and not really helpful. I feel like that should just be like a rule that's not who we're punching.
At least like we have multiple demons though. Like,
no, I know, but like it's like, okay, that's like, I feel like that's a cop out, because like obviously the demons are fucked up. Like I'm trying to think of like people that are shitty. And in that case, I think I would punch Father Bennett.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was just like really rude and clearly denying things that he had done in the past and what was actually happening.
That's fair. I went in a similar path, but I punched Father Marcus. And not that he like is a bad person, but he had kind of a bad attitude this go around, and I like, feel like he should have been a little nicer to Tomas. I know he's like been through some trauma. I get it,
Yeah.
but still,
It's
you're
fair.
still a priest.
For sure.
So who's your MVP?
Well, I mean, I really think there's only one real answer, and that is the lady who came to the church every day to get absolved of her sins to save her cats.
Oh, bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Obviously that was a joke. Father Tomas.
Yes, that is also who I would have probably picked. Not the cat lady, but Father Tomas. So because you picked him because he probably is the best one. He's the one kind of holding everything together. I picked Henry because
Yeah.
he's also like he wants to be a part of things and he's trying very hard to like keep his mental state, even though he knows it's declining and he's not being mean about it like a lot of people are when their mental state is declining.
Yeah.
So
I just feel like
that's nice.
the more innocent someone is, the more likely they are to die in a show like this.
I mean, he already kind of like is showing signs that he may be possessed at some point.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and give him MVP while we can. Because we may not have long he may not be long for this world.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do some predictions. This is a show that neither of us have seen. Like, where do we think we're going?
Well, obviously, Father Marcus is going to come join Father Tomas and become like the Ghostbusters.
He'll be the Marin of the duo.
Or
but also the Ghostbusters. Yes.
I think that I think the cat isn't going to have any issues because she is depressed and like fucked up. So like she's not a good host for this shit. And I think she's gonna be like the saving grace of her family.
I think so too. I think she's too intellectual and they're setting her up so much as the character that everyone's worried about that I definitely think she's gonna be like not the one to be possessed.
I do have a prediction that I do have a prediction that I hope isn't true, but I just have a feeling in my gut that it is, and I really, really don't want it to happen. Something awful is going to happen to Luis.
Is that the child?
The nephew, his nephew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's possible. He's the smallest child so far. That matters.
That like he's the youngest child in the show that matters, and he's like so close to Father Tomas and like clearly like innocent and like knows the stories of the Bible and is like always at the church, and like something's gonna happen to him and I'm gonna hate it.
Oh, I wonder if he's gonna be like the finale of it. If it's gonna come back around to him. That's a good prediction. Like I also hope you're wrong, but it's a solid prediction.
Because you know that's going to be what makes Father Tomas lose his shit.
Absolutely, that's what's going to make him question everything. I don't think Casey's long for this world. I don't think she's going to make it till the end. I think she's going to be the thing that sets off Kat to breaking out of her depression and actually helping out. And I think like Kat and Tomas are going to kind of be like the fighting duo, kind of how like Chris was in the film with like the mom, because I don't think Angela's going to be able to handle it. Much like Kristen, she's a little too I don't know, mild for that. She seems like she's kind of like a rich lady busybody, so she's not gonna. I don't think she's gonna die or anything. I think she'll survive, but I think she's just gonna kind of always be in the way. That's how I feel about her. So bless her heart. But yeah, so I think that's what I have going forward. You have any last thoughts before we sign off?
No.
I can't give you any teasers for next week because I haven't seen it. So all right. Well, that's that. We finished our first episode of The Exorcist. I am excited and terrified. I am excited to have another show that neither of us have seen again, which will be fun. It's always a good time. So if you want to talk to us about it, spoiler free, You can email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for season 4, episode 2 of Stargate SG1 on Sunday. Bye.
Bye.